get the fucking leg day in.
Yeah.
Was I didn't eat like ass at the bachelor party weekend, but I ate way too much. Just like
Yeah, because you have to.
you have to.
Otherwise, you're gonna be hungover if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. I ate like. All right, let me know if we're good to go. GG's on the live. I think we should be.
Let me just hit the quick refresh here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Alrighty, alrighty. Welcome everyone. Let me just check audio real quick. I think Damon, say something.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Yep. I think you're good. So comment in the chat if the audio is all fucked up and shit, but we should be good to go. Welcome everyone. We're the Winter Hill Warriors. My name is Chenny Britt. I'm joined by the boy Damon. Today we're here to break down the season finale of The Boys, season 4. So pretty wild episode. We're a bit late, but we wanted to take some time to digest it. Basically, I was away this weekend. That's the truth. So any thoughts on this before we get going, Damon?
I think people had a lot of questions about this season, and if they didn't have questions, they were expecting a little more action. This finale may have been a top 2 finale in the boys universe so far. I think it answered a lot of questions, created a lot of new questions that we're going to be happy to answer next season. So I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think people have been pretty pissed off with this whole season as a whole, but this episode was pretty damn good. And I gotta say, man, the boys. We'll just get started, and they had the disclaimer to start, basically saying viewer discretion is advised. Blah blah blah. We don't condone political violence, obviously, because the weekend before this episode dropped, Donald Trump was nearly assassinated. So the boys is it's a crazy show because they're making fun of everything, and goddamn, they might have just predicted things. So what did you think about that? Just crazy timing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be called Assassination Run, which, if you watch the episode, makes a ton of sense. Now it's just sort of nameless. But the timing was just insane, especially given the political dynamics that took place. And not to spoil everything before we get into it, we just had Biden dropping out, and then we know what happened with Bob. What is it? Dakota Bob. By the end of the episode, too, he is no longer in the race, if you will. So, pretty wild stuff.
Yep, pretty wild stuff. All right, let's go. We'll break it down scene by scene. Actually, did some prep this time, so let's get going. So we open up, and it's inauguration day, Jan 6th, and we get the scenes of VNN today. They're kind of talking about the top stories. One of them is that A Train's film, Training A Train, which stars Will Ferrell, that's just getting shelved, despite the film being completely finished. Obviously, we know why. They found out that A Train has been leaking stuff to the boys, so he is no longer a member of Team Vought. And there's this funny moment where Ashley's talking. She's still the CEO figurehead, and she's saying like, "Yeah, we just made more, from the write-off. That's all." So it's a hilarious way of justifying shelving A Train's film. Then we see another little quick commercial for All Lives Matter with the various Vought superheroes in the 7, and then they're like, "Yeah, I take responsibility. I'm sorry for I take responsibility for racism," which is pretty funny. And then finally, the biggest story is that the Congress is counting the electoral votes today. I don't know if it's like a recount or something, Damon, to just certify the incoming president. Probably some commentary on rigging the election or whatnot. Do you have any quick commentary on that?
Yeah, I think you just got to count your delegates and your votes and all that jazz at the end to tally it up. But usually it just corresponds to the electoral college and whatnot. When you talked about the A Train film write off, that's actually, they love to make fun of Marvel and DC and stuff. It's actually what the BS that DC pulled with Batgirl when they wrote off almost $100 million just by not releasing the movie.
Oh shit. Okay, I forgot about that.
Yeah, man, dude, it's crazy. I think they're gonna try it again, but that was a really big deal when it went down. But they're known for that.
Okay, so that's like it's commentary on that. Um, Pretty good, pretty good. All right, so let's keep going. We see Speaker Calhoun. He's like, yeah, we're gonna count the fucking votes or whatnot. Um, then we obviously cut to the boys back at the factory, that little warehouse they're at. Frenchie is struggling to extract the virus from Kimiko's leg, and is getting nervous because obviously they're running out of time. You know, Frenchie's fucking getting annoyed too because he's under a lot of pressure. So they're kind of getting into a little argument. And then texts, I think, Huey. And as we know with last episode, it ended with Starlight being taken and the shapeshifter taking the form of Starlight. So Huey doesn't realize yet that the Annie January that he's currently hanging out with is actually the shapeshifter. So texts Huey and is like, hey, we need to figure out who the shifter actually is. And Huey's like, Newman shut down all of the databases and stuff, so they can't find out. So it's obviously very dangerous to have an unknown shifter running around because it could be anyone. And ironically, the shifter is in the apartment with Huey. And, basically the fake Starlight proposes to Huey. You know what? Credit to
really awkward.
Really, yeah, like super fucking awkward situation. Huey's like, yeah, the whole thing made me really uncomfortable. Phenomenal acting by what's her name? Erin Moriarty.
Yes,
Moriarty. Phenomenal acting. So Huey gives her puts the ring on her and says, "I do," and then they bang. And apparently during this sex session, she ended up putting two fingers in Huey's booty. I mean, hey, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. And Huey's like, I didn't know I was into that, but I guess it was. I guess there's like the prostate or some shit. So if you no pun intended, if you like stimulate, not that I would know, but if you stimulate that, I think it's supposed to feel pretty good. But we're going off the rails. All right, so as this is going on, the shapeshifter only has a certain duration. I don't know do you know the gender of like the OG shifter? Is it a woman?
No, I have no idea. I looked it up, couldn't figure it out.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. So it's like the shifter only has a set duration for how long he or her can take form. So right now you see like the shifter is peeling, and she, like, I'm just gonna say she for now because she's Annie right now. She has to go back and touch Annie, who she has held captive in some like little abandoned apartment. She has to touch Annie to kind of like regenerate and recharge. Otherwise, like slowly her skin's gonna peel off. So make some excuses like, hey, I gotta get out of here, and like I'll see you later. And Huey's starting to notice that things are a little bit kind of sketchy, but he hasn't pieced it all together yet. We then cut to Butcher. He fainted at the end of last episode, and he's in the hospital. He's not looking too good, and he's having a one-on-one with his alter ego Kessler, and Kessler's basically just like, dude, we're fucking losing right now. Homelander's gonna win. Singer is gonna get assassinated, and you gave away the virus, which could have stopped all the soups. Like, you're basically a pussy, but you still got me. And Kessler brings up the fact that remember when you ripped Ezekiel apart? Like, that was me, taking over basically. And we don't know the powers that Butcher had. We just know that Butcher blacked out, and when he woke up, Ezekiel was in fucking pieces. And Kessler's like, man, I can do that shit again. Just embrace the dark side, commit soup genocide. What's a little genocide between friends, amongst friends? Out of nowhere, Grace Mallory shows up, and she still has work for the Butcher to do, and he has to make a phone call. And I believe that phone call that he makes is, I think, to Ryan. But I'm going to take a pause here, Damon. Talk to me, man.
The Huey thing, Huey has had a really rough season.
Yeah.
I feel like, obviously a couple episodes ago, he was really in dire straits, but this is really no better because he's also been tricked into a proposal, which is pretty messed up from a psychological standpoint. this is, I mean, it's also a distraction. So Huey takes his eye off the ball because this is when everything is supposed to go down today. We already know the shifter stole the information on Newman last episode too. He
Mm-hmm.
hasn't figured that part out yet, but we'll talk about that. So the shifter's just been running game on him the whole time. Smart move, and we can see why. But it has been a really tough season if you were a big Huey fan. I'll tell you that much. Butcher on Death's Door. Some people, if you don't read into it enough, you might think it's kind of weird that it just so happens to work out that if Butcher agrees with Kessler, he has more power. But there was an episode during the boys, like the spinoff Diabolical, that touch base and everything. And there was an episode in there where I believe cancer actually metastasizes with the compound V being introduced to it. So there is precedent for like compound V giving some kind of malignant organism, like who becomes Kessler, some more power. Like a tumor gets into Butcher's brain, he starts to hallucinate Kessler's there. I think it's more believable than the first time I saw the twist, I was like, oh boy. But the more you think about it, it actually does make perfect sense why it's happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially because this is a fucking universe where we have superheroes. So
Yes.
yeah. All right. We'll move on to the next portion, and I think here now we finally get to Homelander, and
Mm-hmm.
he like is continuing to just lose it because he's like what in his 40s at this point,
Yeah.
something like that. So he's going through a midlife crisis, and he continues to just inspect the jar of white hairs. Man, I think that's all pubic hairs, so pretty fucking nasty. And he's devastated. He's devastated. He's like disgusting. Despite being, a soup, he's still not immortal. And that's something that he's struggling with. He then sees, Ryan is a younger boy. He left a mess. So he's like, God damn it, Ryan. And he goes to clean up Ryan's mess, and he opens his bag and he finds the picture that Butcher had sent Ryan for Christmas, which was a old picture of Ryan's mother, Rebecca, who was Butcher's wife, along with the young Butcher. And the fact that Ryan has kept this photo infuriates Homelander, so he freaks out and just like fucking trashes the place. Ryan comes back to see Homelander just fucking fuming, and basically this is like a dad is about to hit his kid type of moment, and Homelander's like, "Come here, that's an order," and then Ryan just kind of runs off. Pretty scary scene. What were your thoughts on that when that was happening?
Dude, it was like when we grabbed burritos 2 days ago with that dad yelling at his kids like that.
Oh my god, that shit was crazy. You want to tell that story?
Dude, we're just there trying to grab a couple burritos and a couple drinks to go back to record, and this kid drops a fork on the ground, and the dad just starts telling the kid, pick it up, and everyone in the restaurant's kind of looking over their shoulder, but they don't want to like get involved. It was really, it reminded me of this too. And 12-year-old boys are going to be messy as hell. Like I was so messy when I was 12. When I was told to clean my room, I would just push things into the closet and slam the door. Like I wouldn't actually, so, you can understand why Ryan's doing that. But the picture's really what pushes him over the edge. Homelander's definitely still mad insecure about the fact that Ryan hasn't really accepted him as his father. Ultimately, you can tell he's pretty hurt by it. The whole "let's get rid of my need for love and approval" thing just never had legs to begin with. Homelander was never going to be able to do that. I thought he was actually going to whip out the laser beams on Ryan for about 3 seconds.
Me too. That was terrifying. Yeah, and then so Ryan kind of just gets away, thank God. And then we cut to Starlight. Fake Starlight comes back and is like, "Hey, I just need a quick recharge." And she also has this weird power where if she touches you, she can also just kind of read your mind and understand your memories and stuff. So she can sense, or she knows that Starlight's fearful, and she's hit her mom in Sedona, all of these things. And then she kind of taunts Starlight and is like, "Oh, look at this ring. Huey proposed to me." And then we also did butt stuff. And that pisses Starlight off because she hasn't yet done butt stuff with Huey. I get it. She wants
Crossing a boundary,
It's crossing a boundary. Like she wants to be the first to put fingers in Huey's ass. I understand. So then like the shapeshifter kind of goes on this rant where she's like, all of you guys think you're so important. You never want to take accountability for things. Like nothing's ever your own fault. You all think you're the main character in your own story, stuff like that. True, but I don't really understand her point. But she's just kind of doing that to make the actual Starlight feel pathetic, and then she drops the bomb, which is, I'm gonna kill Singer, and everyone's gonna think it's you, and then you're gonna be in jail for the rest of your life. So that's pretty fucking devastating. And so then she dips, and real Starlight is like, well, my life is fucking over. And Butcher on the phone. Oh, okay, yeah. So she's like, Mallory has Butcher call Huey, or I don't know who she has him call, but Butcher is like in sentimental phase where he knows he's about to die soon. So he calls Huey, and he's just like, yeah, when I was a lad, I heard about this place. I think he's talking about a strip club, Damon.
I think he's talking about a strip club that serves steaks.
Listen, I've never eaten at a strip club. I know that's a big Southern culture thing. I know when you and I visited our boy down in Charlotte, we went to the strip club, and fortunately, like, my ID was expired, so they wouldn't let me in. But people were eating and stuff. I've never liked the idea of eating at a strip club.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, we didn't go, but other people. Yeah, there was like a breakfast buffet, they said, but that's just really strange to me.
Legs and eggs, baby. So Butcher tells us Lenny, I think, was Butcher's like younger brother, right, or something like that. So
Yes.
yeah. So Butcher's like, yeah, there's a place where like, the birds get their baps out when they're bringing your ribeye. I just didn't know what the fuck he was saying at first, but so he's like, man, Lenny really enjoyed that, and he wanted to go there someday with Lenny, but he's not going to be able to. So his request to Huey is like, could you please go to that restaurant? And Huey the entire time is trying to find a way to win, and Butcher's just in the sentimental phase. So Huey's like, fine, I'll go. And then Butcher's like, oh, one more thing, tell all of the boys I'm just like sorry. And it's really one of the first moments of regrets, sorrow from our boy Butcher. So what did you think about that?
Sometimes when you watch a finale like this, you can cheat a little bit. I do this all the time with House of Dragon, where when something happens, I have to pause and see how much time is left to really think about if this is it for that character.
Mm-hmm.
You pause it, take a look at this. There's over a half hour left. There's no way Butcher's dying with a half hour left in the finale. So that gave me a little more hope, but it seemed like he was just about at it, man, with a dying wish. You get that to follow up the scene with Annie, and her scene was incredibly hopeless as well, right? Obviously, Erin Moriarty delivers a masterclass. It's like she's doing the Parent Trap if the Lindsay Lohan twins were like trying to ruin each other's lives the whole time and torturing each other, right?
Yeah.
There's the shot with the shifter in the mirror that was insane, where you see the facial expression and all the differences there. You can see why somebody with the shifter's power would be so messed up psychologically, because they've never known who they are, which is the perfect foil to Annie, who, like the shifter claims, like sees herself as pretty self-righteous, right? The facial acting from both the characters was off the charts from Annie there. There's actually this episode of The Simpsons where Bart goes up to the attic and he finds a twin version of himself who's been locked away. And then that version ends up replacing Bart and stealing his life. And that's kind of what it reminded me of in a weird way.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a crazy episode.
It was in the Halloween special for sure. It was like an earlier one. Yeah. There's like the angle of preying on her insecurities was a cool idea, because she does tend to, like, the knock on Starlight / Annie is that she tends to act morally superior in a lot of situations, especially to Butcher.
Yeah, that's true.
When like we saw her backstab Firecracker multiple times this season. We've seen her sort of like go off the deep end. We saw her whoop Firecracker's ass on live TV. So she's at a point right now where she really can't be throwing any more stones. This show is at its best when the central characters get examined, right? Like, we love watching Butcher chase Homelander around like Wile E. Coyote in the Roadrunner. But personally, you keep coming back because of the layers that get peeled back on those characters. Like, we like to see Homelander's insecurities. We like to see Butcher's just psychopathic nature when he's trying to get what he wants. There's not really like room for that if you look at like a Marvel type production. Annie finally has been put in that bucket of conflictedness, and I think it makes her more interesting as a character, and I think it kind of wraps her arc up this season nicely when you connect to how she's gotten her hand dirtier. So I came out of this episode much more interested in what's going on with her storyline.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, especially when we see how this season ends. She has a super badass moment, but
Yes.
we'll get to that. So, all right, next up, we cut back to Vought, and they're ready to film another live viewing of Firecracker show, Truth Bomb with Firecracker. And this time she's having Homelander and the new VP elect Newman on as guests. So that's pretty big for her. Now, the issue is this. She's been taking those hormone drugs or whatever to to simulate like post-pregnancy, postpartum, and it allows her to feed Homelander breast milk. But the problem is that it's fucking her body up. So now she's like getting fevers, she's coughing, and Homelander is fucking disgusted. Dude, this face that Anthony Starr does is so fucking good.
Dude, it looked like the face that you make when like you find a piece of hair in your food or something. Like it was just like just get away from me.
Yeah. He's just disgusted by her. Newman's mad that she's getting called here basically against her will. So the show starts and fucking out of nowhere, Homelander just kind of like blows everything up and just on live TV exposes Newman as a soup, which, you know, only a few people know. The public doesn't know that. So Homelander's like, tell the truth. And she's like, what? And Homelander's like, okay, I'll do it. And he's like, Victoria here is a superhero. And Newman tries to go politician and is like, oh, like, you think I'm a superhero? That's like such a compliment. And then Homelander just fucking lasers her. And how did she survive this? Like, I know she's just, like, maybe Homelander turned down the power of his God, I'm such a fucking nerd. But maybe he turned down the power of his laser beams or something? Or was Newman able to, like, turn on her suit powers? How the fuck did she survive this?
If you remember what happened when Huey tried to shoot her in the first ep of this season, she has a high, I think she has a decent, like, impermeability to her. I don't think she has a great healing factor. As like she definitely has one of those, but she's also really hard just to like get to in general with a weapon.
Okay, yeah. So, but either way, her surviving a laser blast, even if it's not at full strength, basically confirms that she's a soup. So we cut to like everyone watching it basically. So now it's clear that she's a soup, and Firecracker just immediately runs with it. Which gotta give Firecracker credit. She knows how to just, you know, she knows how to roll with the punches. And there's a cut. Now Newman freaks the fuck out, is pissed at Homelander, and is like, why the fuck would you do that? Now, you know, that's my secret, and where the hell is Sage? Like, she's running like, why isn't she running the show? And Homelander's like, fuck Sage, she's gone. We're gonna change the world. And as usual, you know, Homelander's not thinking ahead at all, right? He's a fucking moron. So Newman's like, dude, it doesn't matter that we can't just rule through force because I'm going to be impeached. I'm not going to get reelected in 4 years. And Homelander's like, well, we could just change the rules anyways. Who cares? And Newman then says, those edibles are starting to hit. So I'm slurring my words a bit. Let me take a sip right here. All right. Newman then says, like, dude, half the country is against all of your initiatives. Half of your company's against it. So you'll have to fucking basically arrest half the country and half your company. And Homelander obviously hasn't thought about this. So when Newman storms off, he calls Ashley over and is like, yo, you got to make a list of all the people in Vought who have any dirt on the Seven and, more importantly, me. And we all know what that means. Homelander's going to fucking kill them. And Ashley is with her assistant, Ashley 2, who I find extremely attractive. And they both know what this means. And let me just pause there because a lot just happened there.
Yeah, we've officially crossed into more like Holocaust type behavior from Homelander, like making lists of our enemies, like very Nazi-esque behavior going down here. They've definitely lost the plot, right? In that meeting too, is where like Firecracker keeps on coughing, and when he tells her to move further down every time she coughs, like another hilarious moment after she's like sacrificing her body just to give him his kink or whatever. It shows that he actually doesn't give a shit about anybody aside from probably Ryan, who provides use to him. Once somebody's an inconvenience, it's definitely a wrap. When we talked about him with Newman, when they walk off the set and she's giving him shit, he just goes, "Oh, you're unburdened. You should thank me." Oh man.
Yeah, it's insane.
Um,
It's insane.
uh, it's it's getting wild. Also because you know that like a lot of people have dirt on Homelander because before he went super hardcore, like season one Homelander, it was kind of a running joke that he did weird stuff with Madeline Stillwell. So everybody's got something on him that's been there for long enough.
Yeah, Damon, I never so like I was late to the party with all of this. Like I you guys watched The Boys when it aired, right?
Yeah.
So I never really like knew what it was like what was the initial um what was like kind of the initial review of Homelander? Like he had a lot of fans to start, right? Like
He definitely had more fans to start. People always knew he was a weirdo and they knew that there was some sociopath red flags and some of the stuff he was doing, but he would, his like dark sense of humor and all this stuff would, endear some people, but he just gets darker every season even if he's not menacing the whole time. But he goes over the edge really when he kills Stillwell in the early goings of the show. That's pretty much when he snaps past the point of no return. Once we learn that he raped Butcher's wife
yeah.
or late wife, that I think a lot of people started to put it together like this guy is a terrible guy. But he was the golden boy for a while. Like picture who they wanted Golden Boy to be in Gen V, and that's the persona that Homelander had in Vought when he first showed up,
Got it. Got it.
even if it wasn't real.
Yeah, cuz he was like a villain, but a lot of people thought he was comical and cool, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Also, on the live, can you check if I uploaded the background on your phone? I think I did.
Yeah, there's a background up.
All right, sweet. So it's like it should be like the Amazon Butcher background or whatever. It's like some.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, my fault. Forgot to do the background, but or the background just stopped showing for some reason. But we fucking move. So Calhoun, obviously, right now, like the electoral college vote is still being counted, and despite all of this stuff that has just come out with Newman, so even though she like, I guess she technically didn't break any laws, right? Like she didn't break any laws technically, right?
I think it's yeah. I don't think you have to declare yourself a soup. If I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
So
just seems like a big violation of trust.
yes, yes, yes. Like she violated the spirit of the law, but not the letter, I would say. So as this, you know, breaking news drops, the election is certified. So she's ready to be the VP. And MM's like, well, we're fucked. And, now that the election's certified, at any moment they could assassinate Singer and Newman is next in line. So Frenchie is still struggling to get the virus made in time. And MM calls not Butcher, calls Huey and is like, dude, you gotta get it ready right now. Get all the dirt that we have on Newman ready right now because we might have to drop all of this stuff. Like if her being a soup isn't enough to discredit her, we have to drop all of the dirt we have on her murders and stuff like that. And Huey finally realizes that all of that evidence is gone. And we know, as you had mentioned earlier, that it's the shapeshifter, fake Starlight, who had gotten in the laptop and destroyed it. But I'll give credit. As soon as he realizes that they don't have the blackmail, he immediately is just like, all right, we'll pivot to another plan. And it's the last plan that they have. He tells Frenchie to keep making the virus. He's like, Chemical, you're rolling with me. Huey and Starlight, you guys meet me at these coordinates that I'm going to give you. So that goes down. We see Singer give a speech, and Singer's whole thing is like, all right, let's go have another election then. Because we know Singer secretly wants Newman gone. He's working with MM.
Yeah.
So Singer comes out and is just like, all right, well, Newman misled us. Like, we need another free and fair election. And if Newman ever becomes president, it'll be because she had me assassinated. So he comes out and says a lot. And then I'm going to end this little sequence with, out of nowhere, Ryan pulls up to the hospital to check on Homelander. And Grace Mallory didn't expect Ryan to pull up. But it turns out that Homelander texted Ryan, and Ryan's here to see him, and he can see how sick Homelander is. And Homelander and Grace Mallory tell Ryan, like, hey, you can't go back and live with your dad. You can't go back to the tower. And Ryan's like, well, you know, he's my dad. And Homelander says, look, I promised your mom that I keep you safe. If you truly think that you're safest with Homelander, then I'm not going to stop you. And that moment of honesty, I guess, like really does hit Ryan because it makes him pause a bit. And then he kind of changes the subject and is like, hey, do you want to play some Connect 4? So I'm going to take a break there.
When you look at what Ryan responds to, especially when Butcher is involved, we go back to the game that he played with him when he was going to feed him the cookies that contained like all that like carfentanil that was going to be in it.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy thing just to like say. Then you like realize the context that Ryan is going to be the GOAT superpower type guy if he develops fully. It's a heartwarming moment when you consider what Butcher's going through and the fact that like Ryan misses that love that he got from his mom pretty badly. And obviously he's not getting any real love from Homelander. So it would make sense that this is the way to go about it rather than to just like force your hand on it. You do wonder like if Ryan can see the tumors growing inside Butcher though, because Homelander could at the start of the season. So is like as he's spending more time around Butcher, is he going to realize the extent of what's happening? That was what I was curious about because I know he can do heartbeats and stuff, but is he advanced enough to see all that?
Right, because if he's supposed to be, like you said, the chosen one. Yeah, the chosen one. And so he should have X-ray vision, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are some Anakin comparisons we can make by the end of the episode.
I mean, he is looking he's looking like a brunette Anakin right here.
Yeah, yeah. It's everything from the shaggy hair to the sad eyes.
All right, so next scene, we're at a 7 board meeting, and now currently there's what? It's the Deep, Black Noir, Firecracker, and Homelander. So there's only 4 members of the 7 right now. The Deep is there early, and he's very sad that he murdered his secret octopus lover Ambrosius, and he's
That everybody knew about, but he was sure that nobody knew about.
yeah, exactly. Like he was getting the sucky from the octopus, and does he miss Ambrosius or does he miss the sucky? The world will never know.
I think he misses being considered cool and like superior. Like he gets compliments from all the fish, and all the humans just think he's an idiot.
True. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the fish fucking love him. Maybe he misses the metaphorical like sucky, you know. So then, all right, let me keep it moving. So the meeting gets called in, and Ashley has completed her job, and she is giving Homelander a list of all of the employees in Vought that are basically about to get killed because they know some secrets and whatnot. And while this is going on, Firecracker is pouring her breast milk. Oh, it's so fucking gross. Is pouring her breast milk, getting it ready for Homelander. And Ashley, there's this sinister moment where Ashley's like, "Look, if we terminate them, we'll have to pay them out all of this stuff." And Homelander's like, "Yeah, whatever." Then he's like, "All right, get out," because Ashley's still not allowed to be part of these meetings, so she's still getting bitched around. And Homelander drinks the breast milk and is like, "Ooh, I could taste some cilantro," which is just fucking disgusting.
So weird.
So weird. And so Homelander's getting ready to kind of tell everyone, some bombshell information. Basically, he's saying that Singer's about to get assassinated, and after that, Newman's going to be the president, and we've called all the soups that we know in the States to, basically pull up to DC, and we're going to make sure that Newman is the president. So, because we know that the second Singer is assassinated, like all hell is going to break loose. So while this is happening, Firecracker is coughing, and Homelander's just like, get the fuck out of here. You had just touched on this, Damon. He makes her sit at the end of the table.
And keeps scooting her down like she has cooties or something.
I know. He's so disgusted by her. I think she's pretty hot, but I get it. Anyways, so the Deep mentioned something interesting where he goes, look, if we're killing all these people who have dirt on Vought, like why are we not killing Ashley? And Homelander's like, good point. So Ashley is now on the hit list, and Ashley is smart, and she's been listening to this conversation the entire time, and she now knows her life is in danger. So she sprints over to what, Homelander's suite in the tower. Is that what it is? Homelander's room?
Yeah. Yeah, where all the compound V is located.
So he has I don't think they're producing any more Compound V. Maybe they are, but he's got like a stash of Compound V. So she does the only thing she can do, and she injects herself. It's this actress is incredible, I gotta say. Like,
Yeah.
does a great job because injects herself, and then she could die right here. Like, you don't know how your body is gonna take the Compound V when you're an adult. And then we see like Ashley has this thing where she pulls out her hair in response to stress. So as she's going through the painful, Compound V injection symptoms, we see the wig fall off, and she's pretty much bald. Like, she's plucked her hair completely bald, and she's in agony, and just a pretty fucking tough scene. I'm actually gonna pause it there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing that she could do to protect herself, like you said. It is she's going to be fun. Like, she's going to get some fun powers. It's going to be interesting for next season. You could just tell. I wonder what they're going to manifest as. All we know is that the later in life that you take Compound V, the more unstable things become when you actually get your powers. So hopefully we see some cool stuff from her next season.
Yeah. So then we cut to this little safe house that's underneath. Let me just play this little thing right here. All right, it's underneath the Department of Public Works. This is underground tunnel safe house, and that is where has told everyone to meet up. And we see that Singer is actually there, and he's fucking pissed because he's like, "Look, now my life is in danger. If you had just killed Newman when you had a chance, then I'd be fine." And I think he's being a little bit short-sighted because Homelander could kill him just as easily, if not easier. So his life is in danger, really because of Homelander, if anything. But is there. The shapeshifter Annie is there. Kimiko is there, as well as Huey. So they're there to try to keep Singer safe. And says, "Look, the shifter might be here." And then we see like the fake shifter being, or not the fake shifter, the fake Annie, the real shifter being like, "Do you really think the shifter is here?" It's like when someone steals something and then like, "Hey, I'll help you look for it." So
Yeah.
that happened to me once at summer camp. I won't name the kid's name in case this stream ever blows up, but if I find him, it's fucking on site. But anyway, so MM's like, "Everyone be on guard," and then Huey has this little exchange with fake Annie where the shifter says, "It's so hot, it's like a furnace in here," and that was like what they said right in last episode, right?
And when they first contacted the shifter, when she came out of the closet, like, right, the first time they saw her,
Yeah, she was like, "It's so hot, it's like a furnace in here." So
a little cheesy to reuse the line, but maybe the shifter just like really feels like it's a furnace, you know?
yeah, I would say this, like, that's like, those are the gamey, campy parts of The Boys, right?
Yeah.
It's like people have to be somewhere, and there's no difficulty with them getting there. It's like they just teleport there and they're there. But it's fine. That's not the point of the show. But yes, that was fucking cheesy as hell. And maybe it's because the shifter just like her powers make her feel like very hot in terms of temperature. But Huey catches on all of these little clues that he's already been catching on. Like, just the whole vibe's been off. He quickly realizes, oh my God, this is, yeah, oh, yeah, right here. It's like a furnace in here. So he gets the flashbacks and he realizes, yeah, the reason why Annie's been acting fucking weird is because it's not Annie. So he realizes, so good on Huey for realizing, smart, but this dude is the worst actor, like, in this show, like, not the actual actor. The actual actor, Dennis Quaid, has done a pretty good job, but Huey in the show is just immediately starts acting super sketchy. He's like, yeah, go find some water. And then, and then he signals, or he's about to signal Meanwhile, we cut real quick back to actual Annie, and Damon, to your point, she's starting to just be like, fuck it. And she's a soup, so I'm sure her skin will recover fine, but she skins herself, basically. She like pulls the skin off of her hands in order to free her hands from the shackles.
Yeah, she does not have like a Kimiko type healing factor where she can just snap bones back into place and it's all good immediately. It takes her longer. So this is a lot more impressive than you would think at first.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was ruthless. It's like, it was like peeling like KFC chicken thigh skin off.
Ooh.
But Singer's hitting some fucking, having some mini putts, and Huey then signals MM, and he's just like, "Yeah, don't look at me. Look right into the room." MM's being super sketchy. Great job by these guys during this scene. They were pretty funny. MM's like, "Huh?" And Huey's like, "Just look forward, look forward." Basically, he tells MM, "Look, that's the shifter." And then this part was pretty funny when this was like straight comedy, like this right here when fake Annie pulls up and then like, "Hey!" And as this is all going down, MM tries to fucking signal with his hands to Huey and Kimiko, and the shifter basically catches these signals. Let me try to see if I can find. Yeah, MM's like trying to give signals to attack the shifter. I think he could have waited maybe just for a better moment, but I don't know. Maybe like I guess in a way, if she could have killed Singer right there, so maybe MM had to signal right then and there. So maybe he did the right thing. But either way, a brawl breaks out. I'm gonna pause it before the shifter starts whooping everyone's ass.
Yeah, the engagement ring conversation, just imagine that your buddy made a mistake of that magnitude and you have to keep it chill. And you can understand why MM and Huey are just laughing the whole time. But yeah, nice job by Jack Quaid here as
Oh, Jack
Huey
Quaid, I
during
fucking
the scene. His dad's Dennis, I think. Both decent actors though.
yeah, Dennis dead. Fuck. All right, yeah. Phil, keep going.
Um, yeah, I mean, I just think that you're going to get an eventual shifter Andy showdown at some point because Andy's now out of the shackles. Singer, not a great putter. Those are not. I mean, you played golf this last weekend for like the first time in a while. Not
Dude,
that hard,
I
but to
played,
putt that close.
dude. So I'm not obviously this was my third time ever playing golf, and I was straight booty cheeks. But yeah, that was a bad putt. I did get a par, my first ever par, but I fucking was a hazard on that course. All right, so this brawl breaks out, and the shifter is beating the fuck out of everyone. Like honestly, she's kicking like almost kills MM and Huey right there. Just slams them into concrete, and then plot armor is the only reason that they're alive. This dude's shooting her with a gun, just not working
Ooh,
at all. Just such bad moves. The bullets just like bounce off, and she just fucking breaks his back breaks his spine on the desk.
that was rough.
That was rough as hell. And they're getting Singer to the extras door, the safe house, but the door is opening really slowly, and so she's just taking out like Secret Service, force members, whatever, one by one, and Singer gets out, but not before or okay. So Singer gets out, she follows them, and I think she ends up having a one-on. Well, this dude fucking tries to shoot her, and she just decides to just bite him. This was straight X-Men.
Yeah,
That was like that
that was
reminded
that
me,
was nasty.
right? That was nasty. And Kimiko's like, ugh. Like Kimiko's like, ugh, what the fuck? Like, but we know this lady likes to finger assholes and stuff like that. So, her biting this dude's fucking Adam's apple is it's kind of not surprising. Spits it out. She's like, yum yum, and then her and Kimiko get into the showdown. Kimiko is a solid fighter, but I feel like she loses to a lot of elite soups. Am I tripping?
No, I think she has super strength. I think her healing factor is even more impressive than her strength. Like she is always going to end up fine in the end, but she's not quite on the level of like a Homelander strength. Not a lot of people are. But if you remember back when they beat up, what's her name? Stormfront. When they teamed up to beat Stormfront up, it took Kimiko, Maeve, and Starlight. Like I would say Maeve is stronger than or was stronger than Kimiko.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In before like the fucking boys
Before
feuds, like,
she
oh my god, you guys are so wrong. The power scale. Shut the fuck up. So MM and Huey just pull up with handguns. Like it's just not gonna do anything. And that moment of distraction allows her to snap Kimiko's neck. For a second, Damon, I thought Kimiko was dead. Like legit dead.
I thought it was gonna be tough for her to come back from that one.
Yeah. But like Damon said, Kimiko is indestructible. So she's gonna regenerate. And it's just Huey, MM, and Singer. They're fucking cooked. And you know, you got to respect the try. Like, I guess I would shoot as well. There's nothing else you could do. But out of nowhere, real Starlight pulls up. They get into the Starlight versus Starlight brawl, and real Starlight fucking chokes the shifter to death. Just straight chokes her to death. And I think Kimiko's like watching while this is going on, or she's starting to wake up, and she just looks over and she's like, damn, Andy caught a like a legit soup body, you know?
Yeah.
And once that's over, great moment. And then we cut to Homelander. Actually, I'm going to pause it here when the fight's over.
I think it was the best fight scene of the season.
Oh, really? Is it just because it was straight raw, like 1v1?
I like the 1v1, and I like the fact that I like the significance that it has toward the end. Like, think about like what are the best ones you've gotten so far? The convention one where the dude that's multiplying, what's his name?
Oh, you're saying this season.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
oh yes, I agree. I'm an idiot. For some reason, I thought you said
Oh no.
across all 4 seasons.
No, not all of it, but just this season. This season's been light on the action too.
True. Big Fox. Yeah. I would say I would actually agree. It was the most compelling fight because they made the shifter, like, I felt like I underestimated the shifter at first and how powerful the shifter was, and then after this I was like, god damn, like the shifter handled Kimiko with ease.
Who doesn't really come into the picture unless Sage goes and tracks them down. Like, this is definitely part of a bigger plan, as we'll see.
Yes. So speaking of Sage, Newman angry calls what's it called, the Homelander, because obviously news of Singer being, you know, like all nearly assassinated has just broke, and or it hasn't broke to the public yet, but Newman is in the know and she finds out before everyone else. So she's like, now they're just gonna make it harder to find him, and if Singer has now been elected and you can't like physically find him and kill him, then you can't actually remove like his supporters and the potential power that he has, because everyone's gonna know something is up. So Newman's like, Homelander, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you send an assassin to go after Singer if you failed, which the assassin did? Like, now they're just gonna come after me. And Homelander's just like, well, I'll just kill Singer myself, and you're gonna be president, blah 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 blah. And he then threatens to basically torture Zoe and send a body part to Victoria every single year if Newman doesn't fall in line. So this allows Newman to realize that even if she is the president, she's always one bad move, like one pissed off Homelander move away. I'm pretty lit right now, so let me try to figure out how to word this.
She's not the president in the way that you'd like want to be the president. Like, she's going to be a puppet the whole time for a guy who I would say Homelander does kind of dislike her. Like, I don't think he likes her.
Yeah.
I think that he really is disgusted in the fact that she hid the fact that she was a soup from everybody and tried to get by on that.
Oh, that's a good point.
And the fact that she is the closest thing we have to Edgar in the story right now that we don't know where Edgar is. True. So like, she is like the Stan Edgar disciple, and God knows Homelander despises the shit out of him. So I think that this is like putting her in the shitty spot, like you're saying. Like, she doesn't actually buy into the overall scheme, especially without Sage around. It's just the only option she has that doesn't make her a mortal enemy and her daughter a target of Homelander himself, the most dangerous guy in the show.
Yeah, and good point there on the Sage thing. I don't know if I mentioned it, but yeah, she asked for Sage, and Homelander doesn't say anything, but Newman knows that Sage is out of the picture right now. And then what I was gonna say is that Homelander going so nuts on the phone here lets Newman know that she's one. This is what I was trying to say earlier, but I was way too high to fucking say it. But she's one mistake away from Homelander like just killing her daughter. So she's like, what's the fucking point of being president? Like, I can't guarantee my daughter's safety. It doesn't matter if I'm president. Homelander runs everything, and that means he could kill Zoe at any moment. So I think that's her realization. All right, let me keep going. Jump to the next scenes. Okay, yep. So now the boys have narrowly escaped the shifter. They've killed the shifter, and they've gotten the real Annie back. So they pull up back to the factory, and Frenchie's got great news. The motherfucking French chemist has successfully extracted the virus. So it's like, yay, yay, except everyone's. Well, Kim, actually, no, I didn't even realize this, David. Kimiko's smiling when he does that. She fucking loves that dude.
Yeah.
So Kimiko's smiling. Everyone else is like, holy shit. And so they're patching things up. And then I think, let me see. FYI, the guy on the right, your mic is way louder than the one on the left. Is that talking to you, Damon? Maybe it's you. Let me see.
Could be. Like, I can dial it down.
Yeah, let me turn you down. All right, I think that should be good. But PJ Greenleaf, appreciate you letting us know. If you're still watching, then let us know if that sounds good now. But so the real Annie is mad at Huey. This was like, I mean, David, you have. I'm not gonna let you. Well, you got a girlfriend, but I'm not gonna have you say anything that could get you in trouble. But this was classic, is what I'll say. Just her getting mad at Huey for marrying what he thought was Annie. Like, she was mad about that. What did you think about that?
You can see why she's mad, because the shifter had her locked up for over a week, and Huey was like, yeah, we did it like less than 20 times. So like, it's just the peak of her anger. It's just the wave. You got to let it crash. You got to let it go by, and eventually it's going to pass.
True, exactly. I think so. I wrote in my notes on this scene that, because Damon, good point. She was mad at Huey for having sex with the shifter because it was obvious. Because the shifter was like, "Hey, me and Huey did butt stuff." So Annie's like, "I know you guys had sex. How many times did you guys have sex?" And Huey's like, "Maybe 20 times." And Annie's been gone for like 2 days. So I'm guessing that because of the stressful times, real Annie and Huey were probably not doing much fucking. Would that be fair to say?
Based on her response, it seems like she's a bit surprised.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, so you'll fuck this other Annie, but you won't fuck me, and you fucking put a ring on her finger, and I think Huey does the save of the century. He pulls like the classic fucking card where he's like, yeah, but I know you so well. Like, I know all of your tendencies because I love you, and these were some things that she did which I knew you basically wouldn't do. You know, like, she knew exactly where she put her car keys, and the real Annie always forgets where she puts her car keys. So good on Huey for pulling the save of the century, and it gets Annie to stop being mad at him. What do you think about that?
4th and inches at the goal line.
4th and inches at the goal line. He decided to run halfback dive, and halfback dive always fucking works. So she walks away, but she's less mad. Like, this is the point in the argument as a guy where still quite louder on the right. All right, let me turn it down. Let me turn you down even more. I think this should do it. Appreciate you though, PJ, for keeping us posted. We're still pretty new to the streaming thing, and it's definitely on me. So we're still fucking up some of the audio, but I just got to be better, man. I got to take accountability, man. All right, so yeah, and then okay, so here's the part that I wanted you to comment on, Damon. Is Newman calls Huey, and she basically is like, I think here is where she offers the deal. I think the deal is she says she's going to resign if they don't come after her, and the CIA can protect her, right? Like, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think the understanding is that, like, she'll work with. Really, all she wants is safety. She doesn't want the nomination. She doesn't want the presidency. She just wants safety from Homelander.
Right. Okay. Yep. That sounds about right. So that's the deal that she offers Huey, and Huey's like thinking about it, and he's like, well, you did so many bad things to us. And then Newman's counter is pretty good. Her counter is like, you fucking cut off Samir's leg.
Fair.
It's fair. And it's like, Huey's like, no, that wasn't me, but it doesn't matter. You're guilty by association with Butcher. So Newman's just like, listen, whatever, we've both done some things. We had to protect our own. Like, it is what it is. And then she gives the War Games quote. You've watched War Games, right?
Yes, yeah, long, long time ago.
Um,
Huey has definitely seen War Games, though.
Huey
I'll tell
has,
you that much.
yeah, Huey was watching War Games with his dad. R.I.P. to his dad. So War
Pour
Games,
one out.
War Games. The only way to win is to not play. If you haven't watched War Games yet, definitely go watch it. It's pretty good. So that gets Huey to think, and Huey's like, I don't know if I can trust you. Blah blah blah. Wow, they talk for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna pause there. What'd you think about that?
We know they got history, right? We know that they worked together, and Huey believed that she was just a politician for a little while. Of course,
Right.
only Huey would fall to that scheme, but there's some legitimate feelings there, some protective vibes. It's her only way out, and I think the boys need all the friends they can get right now. So the team up definitely checks out from that perspective.
Yep. Okay. PJ Greenleaf comments. I feel like this was the turning point where the writers were either going to write, let me see, write for the next season or ended this season. Thoughts on that, Damon?
Yeah, I think that there was debate on if they're going to end it in 4 seasons or 5 seasons. And to PJ's point, I feel like a lot of this season has been stalled. Like you haven't had a lot of huge plot points moving forward, and really the big chess pieces on the board are Homelander, Butcher, Newman, and to an extent like the boys as a crew.
Right.
So I think that's definitely a fair point because you have so much action in this last 20 minutes. I did not expect this. Anyone I've talked to who has seen this had the same reaction, like, holy shit, they brought the guns out for the end here. So I think that's a fair theory.
Yeah. I think because we had talked, and I guess we'll get to this at the end, so maybe I won't say anything about it. But coming into this season, a lot of people were like, "Is Butcher gonna die this season? Is Butcher gonna die this season?" And obviously,
Yeah.
we find out, what happens. But I think they did decide at this point, hey, there's a lot more to talk about for one more season. Awakening comments. They said they're ending it in season 5, but there will be Gen Z season 2, and apparently a show called The Boys Mexico. So earlier today or yesterday, Damon and I were recording for another video, and I asked you, I was like, Damon, are they gonna do like they have to do Gen V season 2
Yeah.
before, right? Before 5, right?
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
outlined you were like what, 20 25?
They're gonna wrap up filming for the next season of The Boys sometime next year. Whereas Gen V is like already in production, already going there. So we're gonna see the second season of Gen V take place before the season 5 of The Boys, which I think will be crucial for some of the stuff we'll talk about at the end on this.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, let's keep it moving. Back at Vought, now that they have the list, they just start fucking killing everyone who has dirt on them. And then this
Dude,
this was crazy because Firecracker is basically the worst soup ever. Like her powers kind of suck to begin with, but now she's fucking has like an enlarged heart from the medication, so she can barely run, and she's just literally killing people with a handgun, which was kind of crazy. So she just shoots this dude with the handgun, but has no problem like laying into him a few more times. The Deep catches another dude, and he has this like pretty like psychotic moment where he's like, "Tell me I'm the best superhero ever," and then just kind of like gets off on hearing that, then calling out the guy for lying, and then telling him that he doesn't care that he lies, and then still punching him and fucking smashing his head in. So the Deep is a straight sicko. Fucking Ashley, the assistant, just catches a knife to the stomach from.
sorry, Chen.
I know, dude, she was my favorite. Oh god damn it, just fucking dies, and then it turns out that she's not even on the list. But Black
Is
Noir,
the other Ashley?
it's the other Ashley, and then but Black Noir gets his first murder boner. So good character growth and development for our boy Black Noir.
I missed the old one though.
Yeah, the old one was so good.
Like I felt so bad for him after that Soldier Boy episode. Like the new one's solid too. There's a lot you can go with this, but I do miss the old one. The
Yeah.
Deep is just getting way too into this, man. Like he's just throwing all the insecurities on the table and replacing it with murder.
Yeah, it's super fucking weird. Yeah, PJ says I just realized they never did a reveal on Ashley. Yeah, so we know like that's an interesting part of the storyline going forward. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end when we're kind of talking about things for season 5. Because Damon, I know you have some thoughts on that. Uh, Back at the factory, Huey kind of tells everyone, yeah, like, let's make a deal with Newman. And everyone else is like, dude, are you fucking crazy? Newman's a psycho. And Huey's just like, no, we've all done bad things. And, she's just trying to do right by the kid. Yeah, see, I don't really agree with Huey here. I just don't. The level of bad that Newman has done is just out of control. But Huey's go with the words, and he convinces them. I think is just more like, hey, we're desperate and we're pretty fucked either way, so we should just give it a try. But we're gonna have a gun on Newman, and it's gonna have the virus that Frenchie cooked up in it. So if she goes rogue, we're just gonna kill her. And Huey's like, okay, fine. And then boom, we finally get a fucking moment where Kimiko and Colin like make out. I get that they didn't want to have them be lovers.
Kimiko and Frenchie.
Oh fuck, my fault. Colin was Frenchie's his lover from earlier this season. So Kimiko's basically just like, okay, I only told you that it was fine for you to hook up with Colin because because I didn't think I was good enough for you. And Frenchie's like, of course you're good enough. And then they make out. What'd you think about this, Damon? A long overdue romance.
This conversation made a lot more sense to me than the Frenchie Annie conversation from earlier with the virus episode and the sheep about like forgiveness and letting go of the past. It just felt way more authentic given how much these two have shared before. Turns out they did love each other the whole time still. That was a nice little moment there. They, I think that people weren't really sure, especially like when you had Kimiko kind of lost in like what was going on in her past, and then Frenchie trying to like see this new life with Colin, and then turns out he killed his parents, so that's not going to work out. They had like weird character directions at some point this season, but like they came back where you would have expected them.
Yeah, I think I think that's well said on this, and I do think like there was chemistry here. Like these two actors do have chemistry, and I'm glad that they finally got this part of the show over with. All right, on to Butcher. He's playing Connect 4 with Ryan, and he's kind of having some dad time. And Grace updates Butcher and is like, Singer was just almost assassinated. Like, we don't have time to fuck around anymore. We have to kind of, do our plan right now. And I think it's what they're talking about is they got to tell Ryan, hey, we have to tell Ryan about how bad Homelander is. So Grace Mallory's just like, yeah, that flight that went viral, that video or whatever that they had to cover up from, I think that was like season 2 or maybe season 1. That was with Homelander and who? Maeve, right?
Maeve, yep.
Yeah, and then that was when the boys was fucking kind of sick, because that was when Maeve was like, can't you just fly out of the plane and pick it up? And Homelander's just like, do you understand physics at all? Like, I would puncture through. And then I'm not gonna lie, David, I went down a rabbit hole where I was like, well, why can Superman lift a plane? And there's some creative explanations on Reddit.
Nice.
But anyways, Ryan's like, no, my dad's good. And then Grace is like, yeah, he's killed a bunch more people, and also he raped your mom. And then that part is brutal because Ryan's like, Jesus Christ.
That's where it tipped.
So then they see, like, they're kind of heavy-handed in this, because then right away, Grace is like, well, we'll train you. Like, you're stronger. Like, you have the chance to be stronger than Homelander. And Ryan immediately is like, what, you're just going to use me as a weapon? The answer is yes, kid. We're going to use you as a weapon, but he's still young. He's like, I don't want to, train to kill my dad. And then obviously he's like, I just got to go and think about some things. And Grace is like, you can't leave. And she tries to tell Ryan, like, you're like a grandson to me when I lost my grandkids. And she's very genuine, but Ryan still continues to lose his mind. And oh yeah, this right here. He loses his temper and throws her into a wall. I think she was trying to hit a button to trap him there or something. So he reacted violently and kills the old woman. Butcher knows things are too far gone now. Ryan accidentally killed somebody earlier this season, but this is like his first real body, right? Would you say?
Yeah, so his mom's death was accidental. The one this season was accidental, but it was encouraged by Homelander losing his cool on him. He also does the first time he actually uses his power. It's because he he is pissed off at Homelander and shoves him when Homelander goes to visit him at Becca's house. So
Oh
when
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes to like temper, his temper is like not in check when it comes to how he uses his powers. They had him. It's like when you catch a fish and you got to reel it in slowly, slowly, slowly as you like bring it in. Grace just starts like whipping it back and just takes it in too quick. Like
Yeah.
huge rush move to bring up, especially when she brought up the rape thing. That was, you could tell in his eyes like that was the moment. It was a lot to throw at a kid all at once. Ton of trauma just to resurface and toss back on him. He's not really in a lot of control, like we know. He's still a young soup trying to figure things out. Butcher's approach was the right approach. Like we have to say it. Grace was probably like the least valuable player of the episode. Like she came back in for a little cameo and just sort of dropped the ball.
Yeah, I would. That's hilarious because now that you say it, she basically was like, "Yeah, your dad killed a bunch of people. Like he let that plane die, and then he raped your mom. Now we need you to train and go in the hyperbaric time chamber, and then
To
kill
kill
your
him,
to kill your dad."
and we're gonna keep you locked in here just like your dad was kept locked in a lab too.
Yeah,
Like that's just too much to throw at a kid at once. It wasn't gonna happen.
yeah, psychotic. Just Grace. You just see Prime. I got to think that Prime Grace Mallory's not letting this happen, but
Yes.
she's just lost her fastball.
Also RIP though, because she does die as a result.
Yeah, very very tough. But as after that murder, we kind of see Kessler lurking over Butcher. I love the introduction of Kessler, man. Like he definitely just the actor is the fucking man.
He paid off like crazy, and it's tough to admit that he's right, but like he at this point by default he is right.
He's right. So then we go to back to that little warehouse where they're preparing for the meeting with, or the rest of the boys are preparing for their meeting with Newman. We've been watching so much House of the Dragon that now I just want to say like they're coming to treat. Like I'm gonna go treat the Newmans coming to treat with the
Council's
boys.
meeting.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where Starlight and Kimiko have some gossip. They're like, "Oh my God, you're banging Frenchie, or you made out with Frenchie." So Newman pulls up with Zoe. An under discussed storyline, Damon. I wonder if you have thoughts on is that like Zoe's low key fucking kind of evil. like they painted her out last season or whatever. It's like, oh, it's my daughter, dude. The second she got power, she was killing dudes left and right. I just gotta say, she's pretty terrifying.
It's just the look in her eye. It might just be like a moody teenager look, but there is a questionable look on her face whenever the camera pans toward her.
Yeah. And then Frenchie tries to do some small talk. You took your braces off since last time I saw you. And do it's just like, let's just not do that. um, oh God, that was like I legitimately laughed when I was watching that. But the deal's set, and basically, I think Newman says, I'm trying to read it. You like get me clear of Homelander and Singer's people at the CIA. So basically, protect me from Homelander and the CIA, and then I resign. So then there like that still doesn't remove the threat on Singer's life, but it removes the biggest one, which is, or not the biggest one, but the easiest one, which is just her taking over. But I feel like it's only a matter of time before they get another, possible candidate. But either way, everyone's kind of staring. This was kind of funny, right? Because Kimiko kind of lost to Zoe, right, early in the season. Did she lose that fight?
She ends up going out the window
Okay.
during the fight.
Maybe just save someone, but yeah, so they kind of have this little rivalry, and then this part was so crazy. So I'm gonna pause before we actually get into what like this part of the episode, but both sides agree to the deal, and then Butcher pulls up, "Oi!" So what'd you think about all of that?
It's not just Butcher. It's clearly somebody made a funny comment about this on Twitter. It's Butcher that looks like he's like freshly shaven and showered and like
Yeah, it's true.
reinvigorated, and he's just fueled by a raging
Hate.
V riddled hate tumor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he does
like,
look pretty clean.
This reminds me of like he's got like the energy of like a Mad Max Fury Road villain when he walks in this room with that Australian accent and the way that he's carrying himself. Could
Oi,
work with Dementis.
Dementus. Yeah, this is. I'm just replaying this entrance right now for those in the fucking chat. Oh, real quick, I'm gonna do a quick promo right now. Side note, I make music on the side, so check out my other channel, just Chenny Britt. I got links in the description. And then Damon, we'll save this graphic for later, but we'll save your Butcher Venom graphic for later. All right,
Yeah.
that does it for the quick promo. Let me go back here. Okay, so Butcher pulls up. Now, him pulling up changes everything because he is not here to negotiate. So Huey's like, Butcher, like, we've all been through so much, like, kumbaya, peace. And Butcher's just like, yeah, fuck out of here with that shit. And this is the funniest part. Huey's like, yeah, it's the way you used to trust Lenny. And Butcher just doesn't give a fuck. And
Doesn't acknowledge it.
doesn't even acknowledge it. Just grabs him by the hand and just forcefully like throws him out of the way. And then
Grabs him by the shoulder too, though, and just like tugs him out of the way.
PJ Greenleaf says he had that conversation with his tumor earlier in the season about how his tumor was his real self. Good points. Yeah, this is the real Butcher. He hates Soups, and it's against his nature to collaborate with Soups. So he grabs Huey by the shoulder, as Damon mentioned, fucking just tosses him out of here, and then boom, numerous tentacles shoot out. The first one shoots out and blinds Newman or covers her eyes so she can't access her powers. And then the second one comes out to, like, Zoe tries to attack with similar powers, but Butchers are just way more powerful. And just Butcher grabs Zoe, tosses her aside. Then let me see. A bunch of other tentacles come out and they basically like threaten Kimiko and Starlight. If they do anything, they'll get destroyed by the tentacles. So, and then he rips apart Newman in the air. So I'm gonna pause there on this graphic right here. What'd you think?
A lot of the theories and a lot of the conventional wisdom said that Homelander might be the one to pull the trigger and kill Newman and like take power over once she was declared president-elect, whatever, if Singer was assassinated. The fact that Butcher pulls this off immediately right after the scene with Ryan backfires, like, you might have had a bet on Butcher killing Newman at some point, but the fact that he did it this quickly after the Ryan conversation was kind of jarring. He tried to do the right thing all season towards the middle, well, besides when he cut Smear's leg off, but he tried to do the right thing and listen to Becca. But, like PJ said in the comments, he succumbed to his evil self, right? The Kessler type deal. He's the villain in the end, which is a tough way to wrap up his arc. But was it smart to get rid of Newman? I don't know. I think it's suspicious that they would turn a deal with her that would work out. I think keeping her around and keeping her, now that she's already flipped sides twice, I don't know if you can keep her around like that. The "you're all welcome" that he says when he walks out was cold as hell.
Dude, I agree with you, bro. I dead ass do not trust Newman, and I think he did the right thing I think they're all just soft, and I think he did the right thing by just killing her right there. Should have killed
If
Zoe
somebody
too.
flips twice, like if you flip twice, you can't really trust somebody if you've already known them to flip, right? It would be like if the U.S. was like, yeah, this Benedict Arnold guy's not so bad. Maybe we can take him back now.
Did the U.S. end up killing Benedict Arnold? What happened to Benedict Arnold? Did he get his head chopped off?
Let's do a quick little Google search.
Google search.
So he dies in London. So I'm guessing we just sent him back over the pond and made him live out his days there.
That fucker. Whatever. But yes, so to your point, I agree. Like, Newman's way too powerful, and she's not a good person. Like, yes, she's been traumatized, blah, blah, blah. She's not a good person, right? And she's too powerful. Her powers are fucking OP, dude. It's not like she has, like, some bitch-ass power. It's literally, if she sees you on sight, she can explode your head. That's an insane power. They had to kill her. So, right after that, Frenchie could technically kill Butcher right now, but I think that would be a waste of the virus. And Butcher knows that Frenchie's not going to do him in, so he grabs the virus.
You also got Starlight, Kimiko, and Zoe in the room, who, if that virus is strong enough to transmit, it could become contagious to them as well.
Oh, true. This is the transmittable one, right, that he made?
I know that they juiced it up. I'm not sure how strong it is, but if Butcher's going to try to take it and use it on Homelander, that means it might be unstable enough to be transmissible. So there is a risk there.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So Frenchie's like, nah. And Frenchie still deep down respects the fuck out of Butcher because this was his, this was his captain. This was the boss, right? Like, look at that man. That's a man that can lead. Maybe lead you into hell, but you'll probably follow. But anyway, so Butcher takes the virus and just walks out. And you gotta admit, MM's kind of like, look, he's probably right. Just like, I don't think MM is upset by this.
Nah, I mean, it's like, what's the point? The damage was done when, well, we'll talk about when the damage is really done, but this is not what sinks them.
Right, exactly. So that happens. Newman is cooked, and then the news of that immediately gets out. Oh, I forgot to mention one of Newman's Secret Service agents sneaks out during all of this. So that's how the news starts breaking out. So now it's all over all the news sources, and Homelander is just devastated. He's sad about Ryan. He has his backpack and he's just tearfully watching the TV, and he's like, my plan's over. And out of nowhere, Sage pulls up, and shout out to do you know who plays her? We'll see when Damon.
Susan Hayward, hell of a job. She was in Orange Is the New Black too.
Okay, hell of a job, because this Sage, when Homelander had left her and fired her, looked broken, was defiant, but almost felt like a fuck off energy. She comes back and it's like she gives Homelander life and confidence. I've never seen a pep talk work this well on Homelander. And she does it in a way where it's just like, hey, you're fucking stupid as fuck, but it's okay. Like, this was always the plan, and now you've gotten everything that you need. And she's like, you've won. And Homelander's like, won? How did we win? And Sage breaks down the plan. Well, first of all, she says, look, part of my plan was I knew you were going to fucking fire me or basically just not listen to me and do your own thing. So I had already baked that into my calculations. And she also says that Newman, obviously wasn't going to be a good pawn because she's going to talk back too much. So midway through the plan, Sage pivoted once she realized how Homelander was actually going to be, and he was going to be annoying. So was this the shifter who ended up having this video, Damon? But of Singer ordering the assassination.
Yeah. So the shifter takes the video, sends the video over. So that's what really sinks them in the long run. Butcher killing Newman, though, I think did Sage's dirty work for her, because she had to have had a plan to get rid of Newman if she knew that this video was going to work.
Right.
Because she didn't know that Butcher was going to kill Newman. That was not part of her plan. Part of her plan was to get rid of Newman in some other way. But I think Butcher just sped it up.
And it's crazy that this was her plan when her and Newman had that moment at Tech Knight's mansion where they were both talking about, like, hey, this is what we deal with as women and stuff. And, like, it almost felt like they both were kind of vibing, right?
Yeah, no, she's a dangerous character.
Sage, right?
Yeah. Like, to be able to have that convo, like, share those crocodile tears and then just pretty much snatch your life from you, or at least have a plan to like prey on your downfall like that a couple episodes later, with the guy who cast you aside, by the way. Like, Homelander's disrespect, it didn't even clock on her radar, because she still had this like win that she wanted to grab over all of humanity.
Yep. So now, because of that video surfacing of Singer, he's going to jail, and I don't know like what precedent is. See, like, this is why the American school system's been a bit rough on me, Damon, because I should know the precedent. If your president goes to jail and your vice is dead, I guess it jumps to the Speaker of the House. That's probably not how it actually works, right? Because we've never had that situation happen.
So I do think it does go to the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Okay.
I think that's legit.
You learn something new every day. So Speaker Calhoun now is getting ready to be president, and they can easily control him. He was at the Tech Night party. So Homelander's now realizing, oh my God, wait. I want to take control of the country. I'm going to take control of the country. And yeah, PJ, that's accurate. Damn, Damon, you paid attention in class.
Here and there.
So Speaker Calhoun is ready to pledge his allegiance to Homelander on the phone. So Homelander is realized, like, he went from being distraught to now being like, oh my God, I got the victory. And Homelander's like, well, why would you do this, right? Um, I discarded you like trash. And to your point, all Sage wanted was just to see if she could do it because she's so bored, right? She's the smartest person in the world. She must be so fucking bored all the time. She has to lobotomize herself to even have sex with. Granted, it's the deep, but still. And so this to her was just something to actually challenge her brain and get it going. And I think Homelander right here is like, oh my god, she might be crazier than me. And
Yes.
she says, next time, just listen to me so I don't have to basically pivot. And he's like, next time. And she's like, yeah, I mean, this is only phase 2 of the plan. So this is setting up for a blockbuster motherfucking season 5. But yeah, so Homelander's on the phone and they very good use of Nirvana Heart Shaped Box. I gotta say, because that's a song that you can easily like use in the wrong setting, right?
Yeah. The way that they faded it in and like gently brought it into the front was it was masterful.
Absolutely masterful. So Heart Shaped Box is playing, and we then get a bunch of cutscenes that basically illustrate how season 5 is going to be laid out. Um, this dude Calhoun, the first act is to basically declare martial law, and all of the soups in the country are now kind of allowed to do whatever they want, right, in the name of keeping the country safe. So they all get deputized. So that's terrifying, and they all report to Homelander himself. So now Homelander controls the soup army essentially, and he controls the government. So, or not the entire government, but he has the
Pretty much.
pretty much right. He's got the president just wrapped around his finger. So we already see Homelander. He cuts off the president and steps in, gives a eulogy to Newman, blames it on the Starlighters. So it's looking really bad for our guys. They got to separate and escape the country. It's not safe for them anymore. So they all get passports. I don't know where, but Frenchie and Chemical roll together. MM rolls solo, and Starlight and Huey roll. So they all separate. Basically, all of the Starlighters are going to get hunted now, both by the government and by people who are on Team Homelander, right? The home teamers. So we see Starlight starting to get some of her powers back on this ride for with Huey, and this is where things get bad. Kimiko and Frenchie get ambushed, and at the same time, MM gets ambushed by the dude with the really like extendable penis.
For like the second or third time, he's gotten ambushed by that guy too.
Yeah, it fucking sucks, man. And Huey and Starlight get ambushed. So I'm gonna pause before we break down the final ambush scene.
Yeah. What we're getting right now is a. Did you mention Zoe yet?
No, she ends up at Red River.
Um, Basically, what we see with Sage and Homelander's plan unfolding is like the grim reality that Homelander always wanted, right? Moving forward, Homelander's definitely going to have more respect for her because she is the chief architect to all of this, and he's not going to question that because look at the results, right?
Yeah.
You can never ask for anything more. You do feel that little moment of like, oof, like, did you ever read Fahrenheit 451
No, I never did.
or like 1984?
No, see, people are gonna think I'm a fucking idiot, a moron after this stream. No, I never read 1984.
Is this all feels very dystopian now, where it's like your main characters are on the run from a bigger entity, like they're now being chased. They're the ones who are being hunted.
Yeah, yep. All right, let's get into the fight. I got to read Fahrenheit. Which one would you recommend more? 1984.
I would do just Fahrenheit 451 first. I think it's a quicker read.
Okay. I have read all the Harry Potters. So, all right, MM gets ambushed. This one was tough, man. We get our Gen V superheroes. Kate kind of comes out of nowhere and taps Frenchie. So we know Kate's power is that when she touches you, she could give you a command and you have to follow it. So we don't know the command that she gives Frenchie. I saw some funny memes on that. I won't mention them right now. But Frenchie immediately follows Kate, and Sam, who is super strong, subdues Kimiko, and Kimiko has to watch while Frenchie like willingly walks away, and it's such a traumatic experience for Kimiko that it actually gets her to talk again, and she yells, "No, no!" As mentioned, he kind of just gets ambushed by the. Oh god, I can't show that. Fuck, man! I went an entire stream, Damon, without showing dick or ass, and then they
Oh
catch
my
me.
man, when you're doing the boys, it's tough.
God, fucking damn it, dude! They caught me right at the end. Are you serious? Thank God no one watches these streams, or else like these videos would get taken out. All right, so then Starlight and Huey get ambushed by this soup that we saw from Gen V. It wasn't Gen V. This was from like an earlier season of The Boys, right? Is her name
Yes,
Cynthia or something?
this is when they break them. They have to break in to.
Red River?
Uh,
No, not Red
I think
River. It's the
it's like this similar place, right? Cindy is her name,
Cindy.
right?
Fuck, I was so close.
They break in to
Fuck.
find Sage Grove. That's what it's called.
Okay, yeah, good call. Nice job on the Googles.
Gotcha.
So I remember that episode. This soup was legit the most powerful one.
She was like, kind of like gives the appearance of like 11 a little bit from early Stranger Things. Like if 11 made some wrong turns in her life.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, PJ mentions only the normies got locked up. Really though, yes, that is a good point, and that's gonna set. We'll talk about that more because I'm gonna have Damon talk about season 5 and how it sets up. But that is a great point because when this all ends, Huey and Frenchie are locked up, but Starlight kind of escapes, right? So on this, she out of nowhere regains use of her powers, and kind of flies off. And then a little bit on Cindy, she's just basically has like telekinesis on steroids, right? Like
Yeah.
this is insane. So Starlight has this fucking dope ass scene where she sees that she can't do anything for Huey because he's captured, and she just explodes and like, bro, she flies off so fast.
Yeah. She's whatever she's gone through. Like picture this is like when Goku figured out Super Saiyan. Like this
Oh
is a
my
whole new level that
god.
she's on now.
Yeah. Oh my god. Great fucking reference to that. That's I watched that and I watched when Vegeta becomes Super Saiyan, not for the first time, but for the first time on Earth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Starlight flies off, and now I always felt like in The Boys she was never really that powerful, and now with that explosive flight, like I gotta say, like you had said, their character transformation with Starlight, they did a fucking great job with that because I believe it now that she's this powerful. You know,
Yeah.
like
It looked iffy at times, but they stuck the landing for it. I'm excited to see what they got next season because they're going to need her. They're screwed. They're
yeah,
they're in giant trouble.
she has to become like one of the most powerful soups in the universe for them to have a chance.
And she has to be charismatic enough to attract a group of people to like help out because like PJ
Oh, I see
mentioned
where
in
you're
the
going
chat
with this.
there,
Yeah,
like she's gonna have to be able to build a squad because those are the only people that are worth aligning with who aren't locked up at this point.
yeah. Then we see Butcher, and he's off to do his own thing, and he like Kessler right now is in the back seat, and these two are homies now. Butcher is Kessler, Kessler's Butcher, and that's how we end off. So with that being said, Damon, we need to open this up now to just have a season 5 discussion. And if you have topics in the chat, drop them in the chat. But Damon, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on where we go from here. The setting is pretty grim for the boys, and now we have Homelander in full control.
Yeah. Yeah. These, if we're gonna do a draft here, let's say you got 3 people that you can add to your squad right now that could help you tip the scales against Homelander. They are one,
Oh,
Marie from Gen V.
hold on, not to sorry to cut you off, but PJ says there was an after credit scene. I did not see that. Did you?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we didn't. Okay, so in the after credit scene, we actually get to see Soldier Boy. So the speaker, because he's now the president, has been given all like the keys to and like all like the secret government stuff. So he calls in Homelander, basically shows Homelander Soldier Boy in his cryogenic chamber, and Homelander has a little moment where he tears up a little bit. So we're gonna have a whole other batch of Freudian issues for Homelander to explore next season,
Oh my
which I feel like
god.
will have to backfire in some way. But Soldier Boy's back.
What the fuck, dude? Oh my! I was watching it this weekend at the cabin for the bachelor party, for Kurt's bachelor party. So like I didn't when this episode ended, I had to fucking dip because I'd snuck out for an hour to watch this. I can't believe I fucking didn't see the dude. I'm a failure. All right, so yeah, go back to your six things. That's awesome though. That Soldier Boy's coming back.
Yeah, because honestly, I think that could trip Homelander up more than anything.
Yeah,
Although Soldier Boy did have some questionable worldviews that I think he would enjoy with
yeah.
humans being in prison camps now. But we'll get into that at some other time. If you got three people who can help you tip the scales, they are Marie from Gen V. If you guys haven't seen Gen V, you should watch it because as canon, it ties in, and she is going to be a really important character. We can already tell. I'm going to keep Butcher off to the side because he's off in his little fight club with Kessler, like doing his own thing. But it's Marie from Gen V, Ryan, of course, and Stan Edgar. Those are the three people who Annie has to try to she has to get at least two of those three, or it's not going to work.
So so Marie's locked up, right? She's locked up right now. And then
Yes,
who else was locked up with her? It was the one who could shrink and grow. I forget Emma.
Yeah,
So it's Emma, Marie, and then
Jordan.
Jordan.
Jordan is actually pretty OP as well.
Yeah, Jordan's OP as fuck. And then there's R.I.P. Chance.
Yeah,
Is it Perdomo or Perdomo?
Perdomo.
Perdomo. Obviously, like they had to change the storylines because he passed away in a motorcycle accident. So you had told me, David, like I think you had said that they're gonna have to write his like Andre's gonna have to die.
Yeah, I think they're writing the character off.
PJ asked, why do you think Stan Edgar, for because you had listed Marie, Stan Edgar, and then who was the last one?
Ryan.
Ryan as potential Starlight allies. Yeah, why Stan Edgar?
I think Stan Edgar is the perfect archetype of how to attack Homelander's weaknesses. So if they can build some kind of a resistance movement, Stan Edgar is the one guy that's always been two steps ahead of Homelander. And I think especially with him listening to Sage, you need somebody on Edgar's level to be able to manipulate Homelander's weakest traits to be able to bring him down in some way. I doubt they were able to arrest him. I don't see him being like he's got some bunker somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
he's a rich guy.
yeah, he's got something going for him, but I think that they're gonna. I just don't see him joining up with Homelander. I guess is my bigger point. So I think he would be really useful in building up something to take him down.
Yeah, that's true because they don't have like he would easily be the smartest person on their side if they could get him there because
Yes.
none of them are as experienced as Stan Edgar, and they can't like maybe he understands humans a little bit better or emotions better than Sage. Maybe it's like maybe she's the smartest, but she's not the wisest. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah,
No, that's fair. I mean, it's like like AI. Like Sage is kind of like in a way AI thinking, where
yeah,
it's like not a lot of human feeling, but a lot of human thought.
yeah. That's true. That's true. And then all right, so other thoughts on like where we're headed for season five. I'm pumped. I actually did capture this on the screen record, so I have the post credit scene on the screen record. I did not watch it because I'm a fucking an idiot, but here it is, and it is uh, Soldier Boy and fucking Homelander looking at him cryogenically frozen. So I have that on screen. But yeah, Damon, other thoughts going into season five and like how they approach the storyline.
I wonder how the rest of the country goes down with this. Like, is it going to be a situation where you simply don't want to deal with this army of soups and you're going to listen to whatever Homelander says? Because Homelander was not prepared for, Newman's like, you're going to have to arrest half the country when he's storming out of that set she did on VNN. And he definitely wasn't prepped for that. So, do they have the ability to keep this many people under police, to herd them into camps, to organize all this? I think Sage coming back helps with that, but it's a pretty tall task to ask for because it's not like you have a 1-to-1 soup to human ratio by any means.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what do you think? And this was something we had mentioned earlier in the chat. I think PJ mentioned it, but what do you think about Ashley in her role? Because seeing her with powers is going to be fucking sweet. I
I think
cannot wait.
I think she's right up there in like the top list of like, the top three list I named is pretty arbitrary. I think Ashley is also going to be important because she doesn't want him to succeed. I don't think, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think they want her to join up either. They view her as like a lesser than because she just became a soup. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she could be a useful ally as well.
Yeah, and I'm
And then we
curious.
got A Train too, obviously. Like A
Oh,
Train,
true, true.
dude, I thought for sure A Train was gonna die this season. I'm glad I was wrong
Yeah,
because I think he's gonna be integral to next season.
I thought he was
He's
gonna die
definitely
as
gonna meet
well.
back up with Andy.
Yeah, it's way sicker if he dies next season. I would love for him to not die, but it is
But if
cool
he
that
dies saving the world,
right. Yeah, yeah, that works. All right, PJ says, with Stan Edgar, Butcher killed Newman, so why wouldn't Edgar be more likely to kill Butcher? I guess this all depends on
what
what's
Butcher does.
yeah, on what Butcher does, because he might just die anyways. Like it's not
Is
like
he gonna be his only like is he gonna be a one-man show or is Annie even gonna want to team up with him? I could see Annie not even wanting anything to do with Butcher and like doing her own thing.
right. And with Stan, he'll be in pain if Newman is dead, but I feel like Stan's also like he's more rational than emotional. So if cold logic suggests that, like, put it this way, even if he loves Newman, he was a much safer man with her dead, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and I think just think from like a casting perspective too, Giancarlo is such a fucking cool actor that having him back for another season is just it's like something that they were like, all right, if we can make this happen, we have to. Same as having the dude who plays what's his face Butcher, I forget his name, Carl Urban, like he's sick. They don't want to kill him off just yet, I'm guessing, and you can't kill off Homelander because there's really no story, right? If you kill Homelander.
Yeah. You can't lose that.
Um, all right, final thoughts on season 5. We're gonna do we're probably dropping a video on Homelander, Damon. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're going to do a preview video on him. We'll talk about some of our theories for next season. We'll talk about what makes him tick, where he started, how he developed, what caused the stuff. Things that like a lot of us already talk about and know about, but we just want to put it together in a nice visual format for everybody to give you some food for thought because we're going to be waiting a good amount of time depending on how much they loop Homelander into the season 2 of Gen V until we see him back in action again.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Gen V season 2. I think now. PJ says season 5 for 4 episodes. Annie, jailbreaking the crew, Butcher scheming to kill Homelander. Yeah, like you got some stuff to work with there. I'm excited to see how Gen V plays into this for season 2. I think that this makes people more likely like to go back and watch season 1 of Gen V and get into that. That was a pretty fun little show, and I think yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this season ended because there were portions in the beginning of the season that I was like, man, this is getting kind of slow, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate everyone who's been watching all of our streams for this season. Apologize for the audio issues to start, but we're wrapping up this season. We'll be back with more. We'll be streaming other shows in the fall. We'll be doing the Dune show as well as the Penguin, right?
Yep. Got those lined right up.
And we'll just be going live like when those air. So we'll be having like a more active live. And then right now we're finishing the last 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. We're currently working on a recap for the most recent episode. Anything else you want to say, Damon?
No, just thanks for everybody who tuned in. We'll keep you posted on what's to come, but till then.
All right, catch y'all later.